Welcome back, children. Today we will be looking into a very important poem by William Ernest Henley. It's entitled Invictus. I repeat, Invictus. Now, what is the meaning of this word? Invictus means unconquered. You must have heard about the word conquered. The king conquered the kingdom. So, Invictus is unconquered, which cannot be conquered. Okay? And if you look at the first slide there, you can see 3 different pictures. I want you to have a closer look at it. What do you see in the pictures? In the first one on the left-hand side, you can see a young female trying to climb up the mountain. She's doing mountaineering, mountain climbing. In the middle, you can see a cricketer. Yes, that's Sourav Ganguly. I'm sure many of you know him. And what does this expression show? Oh, that he has just won. You can see that victory on his face. And the extreme right, you can see an athlete finishing the race. What a joyful face, isn't that? Well, now in all these 3 pics, we get to see that there's a lot of hard work put in, and there is no drop of doubt that, they're not going to be successful. They have conquered it. It shows that way, okay? So today when we take up this poem, we have a lot to learn. And I want you to pay attention, even as I read the poem, and even as I tell you a little more about this poet, William Ernest Henley. Please remember the names of poet and poetess when we are learning the poems, because if you like a poem and you want to know more about the poet or the poetess, or read some more poems about the poet, you can always go ahead. So let's move on. Now, William Ernest Henley, he suffered early from tuberculosis, but much before that, it is in his 12th year, 1 foot was amputated. Now, you know what is amputated? Amputated means when your feet is, cut. It is said that he was a poet, critic, and dramatist. And he was the oldest of the 5 boys. So there were 5 brothers. He was the oldest. Several of whom also became artists. So the others were, real artists. And it is said that he suffered early from tuberculosis, and in his 12th year, 1 foot was amputated. Imagine. And as a result of his disease, his doctors thought the removal of the other leg necessary to save his life. But in an effort to retain his leg, he went to Edinburgh in 1873 to Professor Joseph Listern's infirmary, where his leg was saved. His experience in the infirmary is realistically presented in the Hospital series of poems. Now what we see here is the doctors told him that, you will have to even remove your second leg. But in the attempt to save it, he went to Edinburgh, and there, staying in the infirmary. Now, infirmary is actually like a hospital, a place where sick people are taken care of. And can you imagine, even through, being there in the hospital, going through the physical pain, he wrote a lot of poems, a series of poems that's called In Hospital, okay? Now, in the poem Invictus, William Ernest Henley thanks the gods for his unconquerable soul. So what is he talking about? Unconquered? The soul, Atma. Okay? And he continues to say that despite his pain and circumstances, His head is bloody but unbowed. Now, what do you understand by that? Despite means इसके बावजूद, okay? Despite his pain and circumstances, no matter what pain he was going through, no matter what the surrounding, what was happening, and his head was bloody. Now, that doesn't mean it was bleeding. It may be physical pain. It could be, the struggles that he's going through, the trials, okay? But through all that, what is he saying? But unbowed. So his head is going to be unbowed, means he is not going to be defeated easily. Now below his picture you can see that's the tomb. That's the tombstone of William Ernest Henley. Now before we start, let's do a warming up exercise. Now you have to think and respond with yes or no, okay? So when you are faced with a very serious problem or some grave danger, what do you experience? Now whatever you experience, children, you have to put a tick in the block. Okay, do you experience panic? Your feelings you have to put there. Panic means, you're frightened. Abhi kya karna hai, like panic. Then wishing you were never born, hopelessness, helplessness, no emotion, calmness and composure, willingness to tackle it. Okay, that is your feeling. Now your reaction. Break down and cry. You run away and hide. Pray to God, ask for help, build up courage, take it as a challenge. Now it depends what is your feelings and what is your reaction. You can mark on your own, okay? And after you have done that, write about your feelings and reaction in 4 or 5 lines. Now that is just words, so you write it in sentences now. And you can describe your feeling and reactions using other words. Now not necessarily the words that they have given you, but you can use your own word. Okay, now coming to the second question there, guess what the following symbolize and match the pairs. Now on your match the column, you see 1 to 3, 1 to 6, you have all that is the physical, you're talking about nature, the physical features of nature. And the right hand side, you're talking about beauty, freedom, these feelings, emotions. So, now let us see the first one. A tall mountain. Tall mountain, what does it talk about when you look at the tall mountain? Strength. The E one. Strength. Firmness. The second one. A dark night. What does it talk about? Deep distress. A rose. A rose talks about A1. Beauty. Yes, you're right. Sunrise. Sunrise talks about, yes, hope. After every darkness there is light. A flying bird, freedom. Thunder. Thunder speaks about anger. Now let's look into the poem, children. Very interesting. I'll read the poem and you listen carefully. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the burgeoning of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. By William Ernest Henley. Now let's take from the first stanza. Out of the dark that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole. Now what is the poet talking about? Out of the dark. Was he out in the dark? No. This could probably be, he's talking about night, out of the night that covers me. Night is talking about, where he's in darkness, the night time, where there's a lot of problems surrounding him. He's in difficult situation, okay? And black is the pit from pole to pole. Black is the pit. You know what is a pit? It's a large, deep hole in the ground. Imagine yourself for a minute. Just close your eyes and think that you're in a deep pit. How will you like it? You'll be scared. There's darkness all around. You don't even want to be there. So he's saying that out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, from one end to the other, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. I thank whatever gods. Here, he just wants to thank God even in that situation, even in that circumstance, he wants to thank God. And whatever gods, he's just talking in general, whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. So what he wants to thank God for? The soul that is not conquered, his soul that is not given up, not defeated. Okay? And in the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. He's saying that even, now when we talk about in the fell clutch of circumstance, fell clutch is what? Wicked trap. There's a lot of trap around in the world today, no? You can be trapped easily sometimes if you are not alert, when you are innocent, sometimes even if you're not, you can get trapped. So he's saying in the fell clutch of circumstance. So fell clutch is what? Wicked trap of circumstance. I have not winced nor cried aloud. He has not winced. He is not, he is not jerked with pain. Winced is what? Jerked with pain. What is a jerk? When you're moving in a bus and suddenly you get a jerk. It's like, you shake a little. So you're moved. So he's saying it doesn't affect him. He has not even cried aloud. Under the burgeonings of chance. Burgeonings is what? Here the meaning is violent beatings with a club. Now violent beating with a club. Club is, like a stick. You can talk about the baton the police use. If you are, violent means, you're hitting very hard. So if somebody is going to hit you hard there, you're going to bleed. So he's saying under that also, okay, under that violent beating with a club, that is burgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. He is bleeding, and this may not be physical bleeding. It could be, when you are emotionally down, when you're physically down, mentally down. So in spite of being, drained that way, he says he is unbowed. He is not going to be defeated. He is unbowed means he is not going to be defeated. Okay? Then, beyond this place of wrath and tears. Now, beyond this place, probably he's talking about, after he dies, beyond that, heaven, and we talk about heaven and hell. So beyond that, this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade. Now looms means hangs overhead. Now what is hanging overhead? The horror of the shade. What it's going to be like, after death. And yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. And yet the menace here we're talking about threat of the years. There's so many threats around, no? Today in the present scenario, children, isn't there fear around? One thing that has gripped everybody today is fear. Will I get COVID-19? And if I get, what it is going to be? Isn't it? So yet the menace of the years, that is threat of the years, finds and shall find me unafraid. He's saying he is not afraid of the threats of the years. The last stanza. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. He says it matters not how straight. Now here straight we're talking about difficult situation. Now children, to let you know that this is an homophone. Okay, straight, there is another spelling for it. S-T-R-A-I-G-H-T. That is straight line. But this straight is what, children? We're talking about a difficult situation. Another meaning for it is, you're talking about a water body. You must have probably done it in geography. Okay, so years straight in English, we're talking about difficult situation. He's relating it to a difficult situation. Okay, so it matters not how straight the gate, okay, how difficult the gate. Okay, and he probably is talking about this when he reaches, after that he's going to heaven. Okay, how charged with punishments the scroll. Now I've put a picture of the scroll there in the middle. Okay, the scroll is, you must have seen that in a movie, how the kings used to send messages, to another king. It was written in scroll. Okay, that was the way they used to give their messages. So he says, our charge, it doesn't matter to him what punishment he's going to get, because he says, I am the master of my faith, I am the captain of my soul. So he says that I am the master of my faith, whatever I have to face, and I am the captain of my soul. So we see the poem, how he is not at all, okay, deterred by what is happening. He is so courageous, even in his real life, children. You saw he went through a lot physically, even maybe mentally, maybe otherwise also, we don't know, because you're the oldest brother in the family. So we will do a little of the meanings now. Invictus, unconquered. Pit is a large, deep hole in the ground. Wrath is anger. Fell clutch, wicked trap. Budgeonings is violent beating with a club. And winced, jerked with pain. Menace is threat, and looms is angst over it. Before we wind up today, children, I just wanted to share one word with you. It says, push yourself, because no one else is going to do it for you. I know that some of you are going through a difficult time. I know some of you don't have your books. Some of you may have some financial problems. Some of you may have some problems at home. But children, if you're going to sit there saying that this is my problem, I cannot do anything, nothing is going to happen. Okay? You need to get up. Push yourself. Because no one else is going to do it for you. You have to study. You want to study, you have to study then. No matter what people are saying. That's not going to make any difference, right? So I want you to think for yourself. You have only one life. Don't waste it. Don't waste it, children. Push yourself into doing what is right. All right? This is my prayer for you. I hope you're taking care of yourself. Please don't move out unnecessary. God bless you. Thank you.